So we are here to review the Samsung Frame Pro 75 inches. However, I do expect that the other sizes will be very similar though. So it goes for Samsung Frame Pro 2025. This review is a part of a compensation package offered by SmartThings. That means that we can buy the TV for a very good price by having this review. However, as I said, there is a price to it and it is slightly below a good discounted price. So I am going to address a lot of gripes, but we are going to give an honest review. I would need to say first that overall appreciation of this TV is very good. In fact, if you compare it to be a premium TV and a frame TV, so basically an RTV, it's probably the best TV out there, although there are of course TVs that cost more and have better picture and more compute power. If you also wanted to be an exceptional RTV, this is definitely the best TV out there as of 2025. And that says a lot actually, because we are not, the casual user of a TV. We want everything from a TV, and that says a lot. And that's also why, unfortunately, I have to pinpoint a lot of gripes with this TV. It has a lot of issues and they need to be addressed. So first of all, let's go to the assembly of the TV. So the assembly package is made in such a way that one size fits all. So basically, instead of having a kit, wall mounting kit that actually fits to your size, you have a wall mounting kit that fits to the different sizes. This of course means that you need to actually secure two brackets, on the wall instead of one. And this is finicky by itself because they need to be placed correctly in size, correctly aligned to each other. There is some help that you're getting. You're getting a paper that you can put on the wall first to help you align where it needs to be. But of course, the paper is also one size fits all, so it's divided in two. And then you actually put it together for the right size, for example 75 inch. And of course then those two papers are not properly aligned printing, right? So even the printing is not 100% right. So when you start to align it, those papers are already wrong. Not much, but enough. And then you put the pieces on, and the chances that you will get this wrong is quite high. A lot of people are saying that the instructions are difficult to read, but the instructions are actually okay. I mean, not easy, but they're okay. But it's actually this greed that they need to have the same package for everyone instead of trying to make something that actually fit your TV. That's the issue here. Furthermore, actually there's only one screw on each one that's connected to the TV, and since the TV is kind of thin, and if one of them goes, so you don't have actually a lot of redundancy in your wall-mounted setup. Once it's set up, it's okay though, but I'm just saying, it wouldn't surprise me if some people get kind of issues with the TVs also once it's set up. Be aware on how you treat the TV once it's on the wall. Our TV doesn't have the frames yet because they were not available for us in Norway at the time when we got them. They are available now, and we're going to put them on as soon as we have decided which color we have, because actually the frames around will make a big difference. So what you see is without the one connect box is no wireless. So actually you just get one small electric wire out of the TV. Of course, many users will actually opt for different solutions where you can hide the cable behind the wall, and we would have done that as well if we could, but we are not at that point where we live right now. So you get that little one down there. You can see it of course, and we are contemplating on ways to hide it even more, so it's it actually looks even more like a painting. And that brings us to the thing with the One Connect box, is that we actually get on certain sources, and several different sources actually, we get stutter and sometimes outages as well. So I did an internet search and found out that this is also an issue with the connected One Connect box, the wired One Connect box. And it's been going on for quite a few years. So this is kind of worrying us. This needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed now. And are we going to wait like 3 or 5 years till Samsung gets their act together and fix it? I hope not. I mean, you can live with it, right? You watch a TV show and you get some stutters, you can live with it. It's okay. Outages also, it's not so livable. and that is something that really needs to be fixed, to be honest. It's really like screen goes black and come back again. Not in the art mode. It's supposed to be that you get a few numbers of pictures from the Samsung art gallery for free each month. I wasn't able to find that at all, so I don't know where those free pictures are, but anyway, you get we got 3 months subscription free on the art packages when we got it, so we're using that for now. It does somewhere say 6 months, and other areas it says 1 month, but we actually got 3 months. So I don't know why they're not giving us the 6 months, because that's what it says on the labeling and stuff. But of course, the digital world is digital package is overruling those 6 months, unfortunately. The package from Samsung, the Samsung Art Gallery package that you pay for, gives you something like 3,000 pictures, and while that sounds a lot, when you start digging into it, it's not that much. And why is that? Because actually it's a lot of different things. I mean, some pictures are fantastic, and I mean, wow, this is a piece of art on the wall. It's fantastic and we love it. We really like it. But there's also some pictures that are other museum things. There's like carpet, museum artifact. And the other thing is you can actually gather free art on the internet yourself from museums. You can download the thousands of pictures, and also from artists you can often download some of the pictures. While you might not get the resolution you want from those pictures, as long as it's not too bad, it will look okay on your TV. So you can actually become your own art curator, and it's pretty good actually, and sometimes actually better than the Samsung options, because you get the art that you want. The frame encourages you to become your own art curator. That's an interesting idea actually. Is the price for the Samsung art subscription worth it? I'm not sure. It's not that it costs too much, but I also think that it needs to be more. In reality, you have like 14 pictures of one great artist, and that's not from the greatest artist. You need to have a much more complete package, to be honest. And you also need to have localized packages. So like if you're in Norway, why not have some Nordic, the same, not only Norwegian but Danish and Sweden and all that, right? So that we also can have, we don't need to do it by ourselves. But anyway, you can do it for free if you like, so fair enough. The option is you can also do AI generated art. This is kind of a limited option, because you don't have the free option to say like, give me scenery from Lord of the Rings, or give me scenery that inspired by Dune. You don't do that. You just get some questions that are preset that you can answer, and based on those answers, it creates very good looking scenery for you. That's more of a play thing for a little while, and then it gets old. You can also use, of course, as I said, your own pictures. So you can actually, if you have kids, you can take pictures of what they draw and put it on your TV. Good idea. And you can also use it as your picture gallery. What I do find irritating is that it also, when you go in art mode, it also cuts sound, and I really would like to have the ability to have sound in the background. We are using YouTube Music, but actually any sound service that you can have to run in the background to also have some soothing music or whatever would be a thumbs. There's another thing with the art modus though, is that when you are editing the art modus, you are in TV modus, and then when you watch it, you go into art modus. So when you need to change or do changes, you keep going back and forth all the time without actually needing to go to art modus. So that's a very irritating part of the TV, and it's not only in art modus, it's all the way from how the TV is set up. It's very focused around actually linear TV, and it keeps doing all these switches or modes and stuff to try to live in a world that's 20-25 years old. It doesn't really deserve to be the case for a TV that's branded 2025. Back to picture quality, as I said, it's quite amazing picture quality, although there are TVs that has better quality than this. We are in the top level of TVs, and it's quite fantastic. It uses a lot of AI, Fresh Out of Print 2025 AI, to manipulate the picture to make it best possible. Overall, it does a great job also with poor old sources. I mean, although that's not a new thing, right? Already with the Voodoo 2 cards in 1998, you had the ability to do upscaling with some improvement on films, right? But it's just so much better today. Everything becomes a joy to watch again because it's such a great TV. And when I compare the quality with an older Samsung TV that I have here, the older Samsung TV, which used to be a good quality TV, it looks like, what? Oh my god, it's not like that anymore. It's washed out, it's too dark, you don't see what it is. That's the difference, and that's a TV that's only a few years old. So be ready to be blown away, in a way. The gripe of that is, of course, they have removed all the different kind of TV settings. I mean, although you have a few left, pretty much you can either choose AI or not AI. You have the option to do automatic calibration, and once the automatic calibration is in, that's pretty much your choice. You can turn it off again and do AI or non-AI. And with the calibration, you also have the AI, the resting of the eye, which means basically less blue light in night, evenings and the night. And these are combined together, so you can not really turn off one and the other, you just have, this is the way. One way we understand it, because they're trying to make it easier for us to get the best possible picture. However, it's also an expensive premium TV. And that means that either you're very rich or you're actually very interested in the TV quality, which means that you should give us the ability as a user to actually tinker around with some more settings. Honestly, don't give us the options like it's a TV for 500 euros if you have a 5,000 euro TV. And that's kind of what you get here, right? So, and it's all over the TV, you have this issue actually. So it takes away your choices by saying we know better what you need, but actually you don't. Our choices are different than yours, Samsung. And that goes to another gripe that we have to Samsung, Tizen OS. While they have improved it some with the One UI setup, it's still the worst TV OS I know. I mean, all the ones that are out there, it's actually the worst one. Even if it's improved in many ways, some of the improvements are actually not for the better, right? So on this TV, the amount of hitting the buttons you have to do to actually do your primary choice is ridiculous. And their kind of way to build up the so-called homepage and stuff is just what. And so you need to play around and finicle around with this to get where you need. It's better, as I said, but it's pretty bad. In addition, it actually lags several points, right? So you have all these nice pictures and all this graphic going on, but it keeps lagging on occasions, and quite often, and it's quite irritating for a premium TV. It shouldn't. Again, it behaves like a 400 euro TV when it's a 4,000 euro TV. Not good, to be honest, and very irritating still. I can forgive all that for what the TV is to some degree, but not all. And additional, the sources, right? So in this TV, they have actually mixed, traditional sources like HDMI 1, 2, and 3 with streaming sources. At least they're trying to, but they're also actually focusing the whole TV around their Samsung free linear TV offering. So, I mean, you can turn it off, and I have done that, but then it keeps reminding you on this big part of your home screen, it's turned off, please turn on again, right? Quite idiot, instead of letting us use it for something else. But also when you're going back and forth between menus and home screen and what you're watching, it actually acts as a TV that is centered around linear TV watching, and that's when it's like 20-25 years old IDs that are the primary ID, the central ID, so your OS. And it's like, oh my god, who is deciding this? This is definitely not the right people deciding how it's gonna be. And it is irritating because I don't care much for linear TV at all. Many don't, some do, some don't. Okay, I understand, and I can even accept to having Samsung linear TV on the TV, on my older Samsung I have, but it's kind of put on its own place and I can use it when I want. I don't have to have it all over. On this TV, because it needs to be in front, I actually turn it off. That's not what I want. I want to have streaming in the front, I want to have gaming and so on. They actually destroyed even more of my experience by just promoting this free linear TV stuff and putting the philosophy that everything needs to be centered around it. Another thing that you have to be aware of because of all the automatic and AI use is that it actually deletes your sources and adds sources automatically. Now, of course, there are things that doesn't actually play very nice with automatic, and I have several of them. I have a VU, for example. The VU doesn't show up automatic, so I have to go and do some thing to get it up and running. And I don't even know how to do it properly on this TV because it doesn't actually give you the proper options. It just gives some options on new stuff, but doesn't give you HDMI for this. You don't actually get to store that. So sometimes I manage to get it stored, but then of course the automatic niceness of Samsung deletes it again. So each time I need to use my VU, I have to do all this bullshit. And I also have other things. I have a Mega 65, which is much newer, and VU is actually end of life by Nintendo, so you can argue that it doesn't matter, but I have a Mega 65, which is actually a modern take on the Commodore C65. That one will also have the same problems and so on, and I have a lot of stuff like that. Of course, it's not everybody do, but there are people that have vector systems and other systems that are not on Samsung's list, and they will suffer because of that. And that's also kind of unforgivable, because then you're getting into SmartThings for your sources, right? Where your HDMI source needs to be approved by Samsung or not. Samsung doesn't support Dolby Vision by reason that they want to promote their own formats instead. Of course, it's also a license issue. You get HDR10 Plus and these kind of things instead. Does it matter? Probably for those sources, yes. Do I care? Not too much. I mean, by having used it, it's okay. You can live with the lack of Dolby Vision most of the time, but if you are very pure on the picture quality, then that will be a gripe, unless you can do some kind of box that actually converts Dolby Vision to HDR Plus, because I don't see that that's available actually, and I don't know if you can do it, but that would be a kind of solution, and maybe Samsung should look into that. Samsung also have a new sound format that they are promoting, but I haven't been able to actually listen to and find out because my speaker system doesn't support that, of course. I would say when you get to apps, there are actually also kind of a limited app system, although Samsung have 30% of the market. They don't have a full app coverage actually, to be honest, and I'm a bit disappointed about that, the fact that you actually still need to have a third-party set-top box to get all the apps you need. This is actually again unforgivable from a modern smart TV nowadays, that they limit themselves in this way. For example, right, the TV has fit options, so basically you can watch a fit video but combine it with data, health data real time from you, and you can connect watches, but it's of course Samsung Galaxy Watch, for example. You have certain apps that are geared on their own products. So you have the FIT, F-I-I-T app, you have the Technogym app and so on. So it's actually quite a brilliant thing to do. But for example, where is my Garmin support or others, right? So it's nice, but it's limiting you in one direction. And that I don't like. But I like the idea a lot, that you're actually getting closer to where you combine non-interactive videos with interactivity, so you can get Fit Studio. And actually, there's nothing away from that. You can do the apps even more interactive. If you have the interactive Fit apps on console, they are usually, just bringing that slightly longer by having some pictures that can fit to your style, and you can actually do that with this TV. Okay, I mean, eventually it will be possible to do this with apps as well, if not already possible, right? Because it's just how you program these things to fit together, and then you can get really nice training apps. And yeah, and you could even do that with the Garmin watch, to be honest, like with the Garmin Coach, that you could have an own app on there. And it will actually increase the value of your health system. So I do like it, but I think they're limiting it too much again. On the other side, of course, as I said, to actually open your apps, Samsung has this weird way of setting up the home screen. So you have like shortcuts to the most important things, like 5 icons or 7 icons. But it's not the first thing you hit, because of course the first thing you hit is your linear streaming and other things. But once you get there, you have a few of them, but they are also mixed with HDMI sources and so on. So actually when you do apps, you usually have to then go to a pane, choose apps, and then go down to the apps, and then you have the longer list. And it's not really nice, to be honest, the way it's done. But anyway, you have a lot of nice apps, but you're missing quite a lot also, and that's what I'm worried about. If you're making your own ecosystem too difficult, then you're losing a lot of apps. So Samsung should really consider putting Android instead of this in whatever way, or at least Android support, so that it's easier to get more apps. And it's not because I want more apps, but I have a certain set of apps that I want that you don't give me, and that's the two. Gaming, so the TV has its own gaming modus, and there's a lot of choices in the gaming modus. So you see that they're trying to actually be on the forefront on the gaming modus, and that's good. But it also means that unlike the other watching experience, is more difficult to know what's correct, right? Because you have some choices of game styles and some not. Picture quality actually goes down in gaming modus, and this is of course because you are putting performance in front of quality, but you don't get asked if you want performance or quality. It's just a choice on your behalf. Actually, sometimes you might actually want to do the gaming in non-gaming modus, depending on what game you play. Here is another gripe. To actually change between these, right, there's a lot of buttons involved, because also on the remotes, they removed so many buttons from the traditional TV remotes and made them very nice, like Apple remotes. But you get several buttons for each of the streaming companies that they're cooperating with. But actually, like having red, green, blue, which some apps need, you have to push button, right? To actually change settings online, you have to push button, and so on. So it's kind of awkward, the amount of user unfriendliness they are able to give us. I do very much like the look of the controller though, and that is small and looks like an Apple controller. I do like, and the fact that you have solar panel charging on the back of them is a very neat gesture. Actually, you don't need to charge one like this very often, but still it's a neat gesture and I like it a lot. So don't get me wrong, again, as I said, overall we love this TV. It's just that Samsung, you can do a lot better. That gets it into SmartThings. SmartThings, oh my god. SmartThings, we have a lot of different Samsung appliances in our house. So we have had SmartThings for a while, and I have to say it's the most buggy smart control system ever. And just to say, we have an oven, for example, that has a camera in it, and it should film your food automatically, and it works about 1% of the time. Like 1% of the time. That's how buggy it is. Unfortunately, it's not better on this TV. I mean, it keeps bug as well, whether you launch it from the TV or the phone or from our fridge, actually, Samsung fridge. It is so buggy and bad in the way that, of course, it's bugs, but actually if it didn't have the bugs, it would be some of the best smart systems that are available. Maybe not the best, but one of the best, because it's actually quite comprehensive. It supports quite a lot of third-party things, and it does a lot of neat stuff. It has to work better, and Samsung needs to get to that, and I don't know why it's so bad, actually. I don't understand it. Mobile remote through SmartThings, and that works okay. At most of the time, when it doesn't time out or the loading of the app internally doesn't fail, but it works okay, and so on. So that's good, and you can upload pictures to there, and you can do all these things, and you can get the heavier smartness, let's say. The AI vision features, I do not find them anywhere in the TVs. I don't think they're actually in the TV as of yet. I think that's a future update. That's actually what it looks like. I've tried to look online to find out and all that, although I can't confirm it. That's how it seems to be. Either it's very well hidden, or it's just we're just waiting for those features. It can be dangerous also in the Samsung world, because sometimes they promise feature and they will arrive 5 years later, or sometimes they don't arrive at all. But I guess for the glory of the TVs, they have to bring them on very soon. So we will wait to see those. And I'm looking forward to those actually, because I want to live in that hyper-connected world where when I see an actor, I can find out who he is and what he does straight away. But also, when there is some food, you can actually get the recipe. And in our case, it should actually be possible to put that recipe to our stove or whatever, right? So that would be even cooler. But I'm not even able to make it work within SmartThings today when you find the recipe and push it out. So I don't know, we'll see. Again, because of SmartThings, but anyway. So that's mostly it. What I am going to try eventually is, of course, do the development mode and sideload apps, but I'm gonna wait a little bit more of it because I have to understand better how the compatibility is with sideloaded apps is. One of the other things that is also disappointing is that their NAS support or file support, SMB, whatever, local file support, is very low. It does actually have a built-in media player, but again, it's dreaded with automatic. So sometimes I manage to see my NAS, and sometimes it just deletes it again as a source. And sometimes it sees files on the NAS, and sometimes it doesn't see the files. And there is not many options in the app environment to actually replace it. In fact, none. Right? If you want to have a media player, then my option is either to install a separate media player system on the NAS like Plex or Jellyfish or MB, which might be okay, don't get me wrong, or and then the app on Samsung, but having just an ordinary media browser app, not so good. Now my NAS is Synology, so you have actually this Synology video player as an app, crazy or not. But again, the Synology video player also have a lot of limitations on it, so it's not a good option either. So in this case, what do I have to use? Oh, I have to use Apple TV, the Apple TV box. Again, please fix this so I don't have to use a third-party box as well. You have to remember again, when you're going for a high-end TV, you want to also have the enthusiasts like me that knows to use it for all kinds of stuff. So give us that support, you can do it. That said, I think that's about to sum it up. So all in all, blending art and TV, it's the best TV around at the moment. You know, you can buy the premium Samsung TV and you'll find a lot of the same issues there. You will not get away with it even if you put more money in it to some degree. Samsung should really consider, and some of these people need to actually do different choices especially when they design their whole experience of the UI. Remember that there are different kind of users and not all of them are the €400 TV user.